Yeah.
Can you speak to that process a little bit and what that was like? And
That's why we invented the neo-Freudic bullshit, because that was I didn't know. I still don't know. Now I've kind of like 7 years in. I feel like I'm getting there a little bit. But in the beginning, everything looked like lesser versions of what I cooked somewhere else. But I did know that I wanted it to look nice. Like if you're turning a beet, you turn it well, not. So that's why we only had all those white plates, and still mainly have white plates, because you put food on a round white plate, you can't hide it. If you put it on a handmade $50 ceramic plate, everything looks nice. But on a round white porcelain plate, if you haven't plated it nice, if you haven't cut stuff nice or cooked it nice or whatever, it looks like shit. Unless you hide it under a bunch of leaves or some, you Nordic it out, So, yeah, I mean, and then flavor-wise, that's still a process, because I always want to accommodate everybody, like people around me in the kitchen. If you have an idea, like I want everybody to feel good about it. Like if you cook something, we taste it. Like if you're really excited about something, it'll end up on the plate. And very often, I feel like many times I shouldn't have done that. I should have just said no. I don't like that, but I don't want to be that type of boss. Just shoot down ideas, But I started doing it a lot more, and I think the food is better for it, because it's not because necessarily I have the right idea always, but I have a train of thought throughout the whole menu.
You feel like you have a connection. Yeah,
and also like I'm here from day one. I will be here on the last day. People come and go, right? So if I let all these whims come to the plate, it will feel inconsistent, right? So
it was one of the most prolific learning experiences for me when I was here, was to see that process of you going from feeling like you were cooking lesser versions of food you cooked before to this really looks like me now. That was like, and to your point about those guest chef dinners, I think that process of making relationships with your purveyors, because you would go visit them with these guest chefs, actually gave you, that.
Yeah, but these dinners didn't give me. I don't really think they didn't really give me what I wanted, because I think I was trying too hard to put too much content in it. Like it was always like culture, food, music, art, social stuff, all that into one dinner. And at the end of the day, the dinner was on a Monday.
Right.
Like we didn't really offer the guest anything. And the staff wasn't as into it as I was hoping. Like some staff, like you, ate it up. Like really got what we were trying to do. But some staff just really didn't give a shit, because, they weren't that interested.
And taking away their weekend.
Yeah.
But I think.
But to me, like somebody did that. If somebody had done that for me 10 years ago, it would have been one of those life-changing experiences, right? But this isn't a linea. Like I don't have a linea. I don't have 20 like super hardcore dedicated chefs. I have, not, and again, not taking away from my chefs, but like on an overall thing, like I have, it's smaller here. Yes. I'll put it that way,
But the menu meeting on Tuesday after that Monday was always more interesting, because we are always thinking about like, oh, I saw so-and-so reduce the apple juice. I kind of want to try that.
Yeah.
With this thing we're doing. And when you think about someone who has a cuisine language of their own, there's really only 10 to 20 things that so like you do 15 dinners and you take it feels like a lot because you tried to cram so much stuff into this. You take away one thing that ultimately becomes this thing in your repertoire.
Yeah, for sure it did, for sure. And there was stuff to learn from more or less all of them. Like not everything, but like Paul Key can cook. Like that guy, you can throw him, throw him to the wolves, and the guy can cook like nobody's business, right? And he knows flavor, and it was just fun to watch him cook, right?
With product from here.
Like not even just like he just has such a repertoire, and it's such an intuition that you put stuff on give him a bunch of ingredients, and he'll cook food that looks like his food without giving it a second thought.
What were some other resources during that time that you would turn to when you were trying to figure out what your food looked like? Or even now? I mean, you still like stay up late watching YouTube videos and reading cookbooks.
I sat for hours yesterday watching the Urban Butcher and the Meat Hook guys. Sure. I don't know. What do I honestly, a lot more peeling away bullshit. Like when you explain the dish, if you explain it to your mom, is she gonna roll her eyes and be like, "What the hell are you talking about? What is this?" And then when she eats it, is she gonna be like, "That shit's crunchy and raw. It's not good." Like I have this super special clam that you can only find 5 of. Every time you dive, but when you eat it, it's like it's really interesting flavor. And she goes, "Yeah, it's disgusting." You know what I mean? Yeah. Try to get rid of that, and try to I try to look at. It's interesting to look at other restaurants that are doing very well and look at their process, like 11 Madison Park. Like you look at their food now, and I've only had their food in a wedding 5 years ago or something, and when I did a trial there 10 years ago, I don't know how long ago. And so I don't really know their food, but I've grown up with their food. So I know the look of their food and the aesthetics, and I have all their books, so I read all their recipes, and I kind of think I understand the flavors, right? The processes. And then when you look at them going from their New York phase into whatever they're doing now, it's so much cleaner. And they've already done that work and documented that work. So I have the benefit of just looking at it and go like, yeah, that makes sense. I could do that with, what I'm doing, And so I think I do a lot of that. Not a lot, but I do some of that and go like, I don't need 5 different micro herbs on something. No offense. No. I didn't order it. But I don't need all those microgreens. I don't need you put parsley in a stew, you better put enough of it that it tastes like parsley, not just a couple of specks of green. If you have trying to kind of does it make sense? Does it really, if you stop and look at it, and if you were to make that thing, the dish, as the only dish you're making at home on a Sunday, what would you do? What would make sense, And then also trying to that's the difficulty, because being in a very small city, you have the whole demographic. You have the really experienced guests that are, travel around the world, and they come to Belgium, and then, they hit up my restaurant because I'm easy to find when they Google it or whatever. And then you have people that don't give a shit and they just want a steak before they go to a show. So some things like the caviar dish is a dish that it's 4 ingredients. 4. No, it's a couple more, but it's but I mean it's the smoked cod shabamushi, so smoked cod stock, which is cod and water, and egg, and then it's the caviar, pickled quince, and chives. So people that have had caviar around, and they're now in Norway and they want to experience Norwegian food, and they have that dish, they like that dish. I hear I'll hear them say this is a really smart dish that's really clean and clever and blah blah blah. And then I have somebody that doesn't know, and they'll taste it and be like, yeah, it's too strong, or it's too simple or whatever. But I love the process of making dishes like that, because I don't really give a shit what people think about it, because I know that it's good. If it wasn't, I'll put it this way: if people didn't like it, I would doubt myself because I really like it. You know,
Right.
like the mussels that we have, the grilled mussels. That flavor is just objectively it's a delicious dish. Like, I believe that dish, like, that is about as good as food gets. You know what I mean? But it's not fancy. It looks, you know, I posted someone posted it the other day, and one of the comments underneath was, it looks like a bunch of dirty dishes, right? Stacked dirty dishes, like the mussels, like up close,
Yeah.
which it does. But people that like food, they taste that dish and they go, holy shit, that's a delicious dish.
Yeah.
So I would like to do more of that, you know, less, like to have a cleaner thought process behind the dishes, not so much like what protein do we have today, and what do we have, what kind of starch do we have in sauce, and let's mix these together.
Right.
You know, like when you change the menu out a lot, especially the main courses, are very easy because they're big. They'll be like, you look at the plate and go like, there's a lot of like fish and kale and mushroom and this. It's not a boeuf bourguignon.
Sure.
There's no and in a boeuf bourguignon. It is a dish that is a specific dish because everything makes sense in the dish.
Yeah.
Right? There's no classic dishes that you explain as and like Wiener Schnitzel. It's not breaded pork and lemon and capers and potato salad and mosh and beets and mushrooms, and it's just like, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So if you can hit that's a good guiding goal for a guiding principle for making good dishes, I think.
This was the first restaurant I worked at where it was okay. We had that conversation one day where it was like, I don't think it needs a green on it. And to me in my career, that was like, holy shit. This is like, it was like you were scathing my view of what a plate should look like.
If you look at food today, though, there's no greens on anything.
Yes. Everything's shingled now.
Yeah. This doesn't need shingled rainbow carrots. What? What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do you think is a common... I want to go more to the restaurateur side of Christophe now. So what do you think is a common misconception that first-time restaurant owners